Nathan Wenzel in 6 is 203. Jeffrey Ramsdale is 201. Daniel Sweeney is 199. Then Eric Laurendeau is 184. And Paul McCovery is 173, back in 10th. As they line up on the front stretch, you've got the 64 and the 22 up front. And just for you Thomas Johnson fans, he is currently 12th in points. So the last 2 weeks, he's actually managed to recover some points and start moving his way back up. He was, uh, I believe, about 20 points outside the top 10. So we'll see if he can do it. See if he can make up some points here. I know Cupcake is a few spots back from that as well. All right, and it looks like Cupcake will be in the first heat. Back there in the 74, it'll be Jason Pelkey leading them down. As they pace around, looks like there was some difficulty getting out there or getting going, but everybody is going now. And we will wait for the pace car to drop off here in another lap, it looks like. As these 8 cars take to the track. Looks like the car of Eric Pamasco is there in the green. Not sure why his paint scheme didn't load tonight, as usually does, and the 44 to the outside of him, that is Mr. Prescott. And then Thomas Johnson is right behind them on the outside, but green flag is in the air. Heat number 1 is underway. As they dive off into turn 1, Jason Pelkey takes the lead. Drew Davis slips back. Oh, we've got a little bumping on the wall. And it looks like everybody gets caught up. Caution is out. All right, let's see if we can see what all happened here. There was a lot to take in, but we saw the 22 kind of get up in the wall. Everybody behind him starts to check up. The 44 comes down, clips Thomas Johnson, then clips the 25. Then everybody gets turned around and held up to the outside, inside, and every which way. Fortunately for these guys, because they have no fast repairs, fortunately, the track is not a high speed one. They will not sustain a lot of damage in an accident here. So it should keep everybody going a bit longer than they normally would because of the lower speeds. But at the lower speeds, it's also more technical, more difficult, and a bit more of a struggle for some of these guys. So it'll definitely make for an interesting race tonight. Does not look like anybody went to pit road. Nobody's going to be out of it right now. Currently it's Jason Pelkey up front, then Drew Davis, Eric Pamasco, Justin Prescott, but the 22 of Drew Davis is going to drop to the back. One of the rules is if you cause the caution, you do have to drop to the back of the field. So now it'll be Jason Pelkey, then Eric Pamasco, Justin Prescott, Randall Phillips, Thomas Johnson up to 6th, Clark Brooks in 7th, Eric Laurendeau 8th, 9th is Jeffrey Ramsdale, 10th is Kevin Cormier, Dana Shepard is 11th, 12th is James Seagroves DeCourcy, and Matt Kimball rounds out the field with Drew Davis all the way back there behind him. Hey, Herb. Nope, I'm not racing tonight. Alrighty. Pace car should be dropping off coming out of the turn. Oh, nope, that was turn 2, not 4. And Jason Pelkey will lead them down again with Eric Pomasco to the outside. Green flag is in the air. And the 64 doesn't get as good of a jump this time, but we don't have any cars into the outside wall yet, as the 471 is trying to take over the lead coming through the turn. Can't quite get there. That inside line has the momentum. It looked like the 471 might have grabbed a little bit of wall there. And that's allowing the 19 of Randy Phillips to jump up a spot. And looks like the 471's getting a little wiggly there. Manages to hold it together. Falls in the line in third place. The 64 is currently leading, but the 19 is getting a little impatient. He's looking for any opening he can get. He's trying to get that lead. Trying to get a win in heat number 1. Halfway done with the first heat, and yep, they are starting to bump and bang. I imagine we're going to see a lot more bumping and banging on this smaller track tonight than what we usually do out of these guys, as they are looking to make up positions, and it is going to be a struggle. And the 19 is really low through the turn. Manages to stay off the 64, and now the Eric Pomasco and the 471 to the outside trying to take second place. Justin Pelkey in the 44 right back there behind him, and the 46 of Eric Laurendeau has moved way through the field, as has Jeffrey Ramsdale, and the 50 of Matthew Kimball. He was in last on the restart and has now made his way all the way up to 7th right now, just passing Thomas Johnson. Back up front, the battle's still going for second place here, as the 471 of Eric Pomasco and the 19. And it looks like as they crossed the line, it was Jason Pelkey, then Eric Pomasco by a nose. And now they'll go into their 2-minute warm-up. The starting order should be set. We will go through that right before the race starts. Tommy's always bumping and banging. Yep. And while they're in warm-up, I'm going to switch screens for just a minute and see if we can fix the paint job issue here. And we are back live, and some of the cars are updating, but we are starting to get the correct paint jobs. It's funny how some of this technology works on one thing one way and one thing doesn't work. So, and definitely stick around after this race. We will, as always, have the Outcast SR8s at Dover tonight. And that'll be an exciting race, because that's one of those tracks where they can actually impact each other without touching each other. Those SR8s, you can get them loose if you're behind when you get far enough up under the under that rear wing, and it causes them to get loose, and it can cause a lot of excitement. Currently fastest car on track is the 87. That is Paul McCobrey, David Greenslet, then Nathan Wenzel, Eric Laurendeau, and Kyle Streeter as they finish up, and it is time to go green flag racing. 75 laps at South Boston, and I guarantee you folks, this one's going to be bumpy. All right, up front we've got Eric Pomasco and Jason Pelkey on the front row. Then you got Nathan Wenzel and Kyle Streeter in the second row. Tony Quadros, our points leader, is 5th. Paul McCobrey is 6th. Eric Steele 7th. Randy Phillips is back in 8th. Justin Prescott is 9th. Jeffrey Ramsdale is 10th. Then you've got Eric Laurendeau, Matt Kimball, Thomas Johnson back in 13th. 14th is Kevin Cormier. Dana Shepard is 15th. Then you've got Mr. Cupcake himself, James Seagroves DeCourcy in 16th. Clark Brooks in 17th. Drew Davis in 18th. 19th is David Greenslet. And Rodney Huntoon is 20th. Just taking a look. Let's see if we can find Mr. Cupcake there. He is in the 74. Looks like a Superflow paint job tonight. The 58 of Thomas Johnson. A couple of fan favorites out there. And, of course, the 07 of Jeffrey Ramsdale there in 10th. And we saw Jeffrey Ramsdale have a really rough start to the season. He is one that's been working his way back up. He is up to 7th, just a few points out of 5th. So a couple of good finishes, or a good finish tonight for him, and finishing ahead of a couple other cars could make a huge difference here for that driver tonight. Alrighty, here they go. Let's see, should be 1 to green. Yes, it is. 1 to green. David Greenslet and Rodney Huntoon also are back in the field, it looks like. I'm not sure if they are actually on track at the moment. Let's take a quick... I am not seeing them on track at the moment. Alrighty. Pace car should be diving off just right about there. Green flag is in the air, and Eric Pamasco is wasting no time, but neither is Jason Pelkey. He tried to get a jump to the outside, couldn't quite get there. The 03 is going to come right underneath him for second place, try and hold him up, and we've got some battling going on right behind him. And we've got some wrecking right behind him. The 32 is going for a barrel roll there. And our first caution of the night. All right, it is a small track. Things happen really quickly here. Looks like the 37 dove down onto the 32 just a little bit. They caught each other. 32 tried to avoid it, and when he backed out, he got flipped over a few times, caught up several cars, but as we said in pre-race, there's not a lot of damage. They don't have a lot of speed going on, so we'll see what happens here. Looks like the 32 is on pit road. Eric Steele, the 32, Eric Laurendeau in the 46, both on pit road. Paul McCobrey in the 37, still out there. Looks like he went to the tail end of the field, though. And up front, we still have Eric Pamasco and Jason Pelkey, Nathan Wenzel, Kyle Streeter. Tony Quadros is up to 5th now. Or currently still in 5th, but the battle on that restart was definitely from about 3rd, 4th on back. Everybody from behind was coming. These guys at the front couldn't get away fast enough. And just a quick check for the fan favorites here. Let's see. Thomas Johnson in the 58 in 13th. And where is Mr. Cupcake? There he is. He's back in 16th at the moment. All right, they only completed 1 lap. Remember that the caution laps do not count. Lights should be going out on the pace car here. Yes, they are. Everybody lines up side by side again. And looks like after that wreck, once the scoring updates, it looks like Tommy Johnson actually got up to about 6th place with being able to drive through all those cars wrecking in front of him. So good job to him. We'll see when scoring updates where that puts Cupcake as well. Pace car is in. Eric Pamasco leads him down, but Jason Pelkey, another good start. He's not going to let him get away. And these 3 cars right here just stay side by side and nose to tail. The 03 is looking for any way around these guys. They are side by side, leaning on each other really hard. Currently, Thomas Johnson is in 6th. Cupcake is up to 12th now. We'll go take a look back at him here in a moment. The 03 currently in 3rd, just waiting for something to happen right in front of him. And the 19 right back there. He is still there, and caution is out again. All right, looks like we're looking at the 25 of the 43 of Dana Shepard there on the outside, the 25 to the inside. That is Clark Brooks. Looks like Clark just got a little bit in a little too hot, and they collected points leader Tony Quadros in that as well. Doesn't look like he sustained much damage, but we'll have to take a closer look at that here in a moment. Alright, looks like Tony Quadros is coming down pit road to have his crew take a look. He did sustain some front end damage, so he's going to go in and have the crew bang it out just a little bit, get as much done with it as he can. And looks like James Seagroves DeCourcy is now... Cupcake is up to 10th. There's Cupcake. He has worked his way up to 10th, but Dana Shepard being on pit road, he should gain one more spot. And, of course, Thomas Johnson currently being scored still in 6th. He started 13th. He's one of the biggest movers. Him and Jeffrey Ramsdell in that 07 car. Jeffrey Ramsdell, that first few races this season was rough for him, but he has been making a comeback as well. So some of these comeback guys, they're gonna, if they can get a little bit of luck here tonight, there's no telling what could happen with the points. And I'm getting the feeling I should be referring to Thomas Johnson as Turtles. Tony Quadros still on pit road. Dana Shepard as well. They should be coming out as we are getting the 1 to green. And looks like Randy Phillips currently running in 4th, and Tony Quadros is back off of pit road. So everybody's off pit road. And green flag is in the air. Another good start from the leaders. And the cars behind are not getting away from him this time. It looks like Randy's trying to just seat himself in. There are only 5 laps into the 75-lap event. He's going to try and play it a little bit safe here. As the 58 of Thomas Johnson is starting to make a move to the outside. He is currently on the outside of Jeffrey Ramsdell and starting to look to the outside of the 19. Can't quite get there yet, but he is going to make the move on the 07 car. Can definitely carry a lot more momentum off, and the 64 is slowing. He got stuck on the outside, and he is going backwards as the 471 of Eric Pomaska. Oh, and the 19 gets yeeted to the inside wall. He recovers, but it looks like the 58 of Thomas Johnson was involved, as was Cupcake. Caution is out. Let's see if we can figure out what all happened there. All right, we are looking at the 58 of Thomas Johnson. The 19 looked like he was trying to come down, or when he got sent to the inside wall, everybody went evasive and moved up just a little bit. Cupcake just clipped the rear quarter panel of the 58, and then the 87 caught him as well. Everybody trying to avoid the 19, and a little bit bigger issue ensued. Currently 471 still up there in the lead. We will see how they all line up there. Looked like once Randy Phil or once one car got down to the inside wall, everything went kind of haywire. Everybody was trying to avoid him. Just wasn't enough track, and that is the difficulty with these tiny tracks here. It is a side-by-side, nose-to-tail battle all the way around. It takes forever. It takes a lot of green flag laps for these guys to get stretched out. That means that anybody makes the slightest mistake, or if you have to avoid somebody, it can involve somebody that you didn't mean to, you weren't even close to. Just a big chain reaction of events. It's like a row of dominoes falling. yeah, yeah. Thomas Johnson was clipped by a cupcake. And because scoring does not update when caution laps don't count, I can't tell you exactly where those two will end up. Once we go green flag racing, we should be able to tell. Both are still being scored in 7th and 8th. It looks like Cupcake is still going to be there on the outside, so he's about 6th place. And we will see where Thomas Johnson ended up after that. Both of them are getting really good at coming forward. I'm sure they're going to be back to the front before long. Green flag is in the air. Looked like a little bit of a checkup at the front, and a few of these guys got separated just a little bit. Randy Phillips down there to the inside trying to make the move for second place. Here comes the 07 of Jeffrey Ramsdale right behind him, and here's the 50 car. Matthew Kimball, he started back in 12th. He is up here battling for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And it looks like he's about to take 3rd. Yes, he is. He is down to the inside. The 03 of Nathan Wenzel is starting to go backwards. Nathan manages to close the gap, gets into the 19 just a little bit. Everybody checks up. Everybody comes out of that one clean so far. Not a lot of real estate here for these guys to run on, so they are going for everything they can get everywhere. And let's take a look back and see where the 74 is. He's currently back in 6th. That is James Seagroves DeCourcy. The 58 of Thomas Johnson, currently back in 12th, and he started in 13th, so he is already starting to work his way back to the front as well. Looks like damage to his car was fairly minor considering how many times he got hit tonight so far, so good job by him keeping that car in one piece. Leaders are up front, and here comes the 19 car, Randall Phillips. Currently up in 2nd place. Tony Quadros mired back in 16th. This could be the night Randy Phillips could reclaim the points lead here tonight. As their single file, looks like the first 10, 12 cars back there are single file. Kyle Streeter in the 37. He was involved in that very first issue. He started up in 4th. He is currently back in 9th, working his way back to the front. 46 of Eric Laurendeau. He is in 10th place right now, working his way. And there's Thomas Johnson. Looks like he fell back to about 11th place right now, but he is already starting to work his way back to the front. And And you do see a lot of beating and banging in these cars here tonight. As we watch them go around, they get so close to each other in the turns. It's a good thing these cars weigh 3,400 pounds, so a light tap generally doesn't send them unless they're already a little loose or already struggling with their handling. And then it might send them around, as we saw on that last accident. Up front, it is still the 471 of Eric Pomasco up front, but Randy Phillips right there in second, trying to reclaim his points lead tonight. Meanwhile, Tony Quadros in the 12 car. Looks like he is really struggling here tonight. He is still back in 16th place, just very close to losing a lap, as is Drew Davis there. And Randy Phillips reclaims the lead. He is up front for the first time tonight, and as they run right now, he is the points leader again. And as Tony runs right now, that would be a big jump for his lead. Tony Quadros only had 3-point lead coming into here, but Eric Pomasco in second place, he was just under 20 points, or he was right at 21 points behind Tony Quadros' leading. So tonight could be a huge points night for him as well. If he can keep Randy Phillips in his sights or even beat him, he could jump up into second place and close the gap to the lead. 24 laps in, starting lap 25 of the 75-lap event, and it looks like the 19 of Randy Phillips is starting to open up a little bit of a lead. So let's go through the field real quick and take a look at everybody. Right behind him in second place is the 471. That is Eric Pomasco, followed by the 50 car of Matthew Kimball, who started in 12th and is now up to 3rd. The 03 there of Nathan Wenzel, he is currently in 4th place. And right behind him is the 07. That is Jeffrey Ramsdale. Another one that had a rough start to the season but has made his way forward quite well. Behind them is the 44. That is Justin Prescott. 7th place is none other than Cupcake James Seagroves DeCourcy, being chased around by Kyle Streeter in the 37 car. And Thomas Turtles Johnson, make sure I say that right, Thomas Turtles Johnson back up in 9th place, and Jason Pelkey in the 64 car right behind him. Following them is the 46 of Eric Laurendeau. He is in 11th. 12th place is the 14 car, Kevin Cormier. Clark Brooks in the 25 car. He is currently shown in 14th, with Paul McCoubry just making the pass for 13th. Eric Steele in the 32 right behind them. He is in 15th. 16th is the 22 of Drew Davis. And the points leader coming into tonight, Tony Quadros, is currently 17th. Dana Streeter in the 43 rounds out the 18 cars on track. Back up front, Eric Pomasco is still trying to run down the 19 car of Randy Phillips, and he's got the 50 of Matthew Kimball right there with him. And the battle behind them is actually starting to heat up just a little bit. The 07 car of Jeffrey Battles has been closing down on Nathan Wenzel every corner. So we might see a move for 4th place here before too much longer. You can see he gets into the corner a little bit better. Looks like the 03 gets off the corner a little bit better though. And the 44 is steadily closing in on both of them, and he's just kind of lurking. James Seagroves DeCourcy currently back there in a 3-car battle with the lap car of Tony Quadros and the 37 of Kyle Streeter. Tony Quadros going high, letting them by. Looks like he might be struggling just a little bit with the handling of that car. He is definitely not up to full speed tonight after that incident. It didn't look like he took a lot of damage, but must have hit some. As we see the 37 looking low, trying to take 7th place from Cupcake. And they better not stay side by side for long. Here comes Thomas Johnson right behind him. He's currently in 9th, looking to hop up there and take 8th. He's definitely closing up on him as they run side by side here. And they have the lap car of Tony Quadros right there in the middle of that. Looked like Cupcake got a little bit loose coming off the turn. And that gave Turtles a chance to catch up. And now he is right back to the back bumper. And he gets around to the outside. Looks like Cupcake just slowed down a little bit going into the corner. And the 58 of Thomas Johnson is going to move up into 8th place. That'll put James Seagroves DeCourcy back to 9th. Currently still up at the front. The 19 is still leading him around. And they are running just 16-second laps here right now. Jason Pelkey in the 64 currently being shown 3 laps down, as is Dana Shepard. Tony Quadros now 1 lap down, and we should start seeing lap cars become even more of an issue. The longer they stay green flag, even with just 35 laps to go, the longer they stay green flag on these shorter tracks, the more cars that they will end up putting 1, 2, or more laps down, just depending on how drivers are handling tonight. As we mentioned, our points leader coming in tonight, Tony Quadros, currently runs in 16th. Randy Phillips, who was 2nd in points and has led most of the season, he is now out front with Eric Pamasco right behind him, who's 3rd in points. Eric Steele, 4th in points. He is currently running in 14th place. Jason Pelkey, who is 5th in points, is... he is 18th. He is several laps down. Looks like he might be out. Nathan Wenzel, 6th in points, is currently in 4th place. Jeffrey Ramsdell, who is 7th in points, is currently running in 5th. So quite a few points battles going on, and the points could significantly change here tonight, even bigger than some of the points changes we saw last week with Tony Quadros having problems and Eric Steele and Jason Pelkey being at the back. Could see the top 2 cars open up a bit more of a lead on 3rd on back, as the 25 car is struggling there as the leaders come past. Randy Phillips still leading, 28 laps to go here. And the 50 car of Matthew Kimball, he is starting to look for a way to get around Mr. Pamasco. With 27 laps to go, he's got to make a move soon if he wants to challenge for the lead. There's a bunch of lap cars coming up just at the end of the straightaway, and they will come into play as well. It's going to be a question of who can navigate that traffic the fastest and the easiest, who can run the line that the other one doesn't to get around these lap cars. As you see, the 50 car is definitely trying to get a run down into the corner, get that nose up underneath, and see if he can get by. That is your front 3, Randy Phillips, Eric Pamasco, Matthew Kimball. Then 4th place is still Nathan Wenzel, Jeffrey Ramsdell in 5th. 6th is Justin Prescott. Kyle Streeter is 7th. Thomas Johnson 8th. Cupcake is 9th. Paul McCoubry is back in 10th. And they are starting to get, things are starting to heat up back there for the 3rd place position. As they come around the 32, the lap car of Eric Steele. Eric's not given any space there. He is going to try and stay with the leaders all the way around. And we've seen him lead in several races. We know, the 32 almost got into the back of the 50. And the avoidance maneuver there allowed Eric Pamasco to get away just a little bit from Matthew Kimball. But while all of that battling was going on, the 19 definitely took advantage of it. He opened up just a little bit of a gap, and what little bit of it he can. Let's ride along with the leader. As he comes down the start-finish line, the 14 is going to move up and let him by. You can see he is getting all the way down on the apron to get that car to turn better and to get around this lap traffic. As he comes up on the back bumper of the 22 of Drew Davis, that is one lap around the track in 16.3 seconds. And it looks like Drew Davis is running some really quick laps, but the fastest car on track right now, actually the fastest last lap was Drew Davis, and Randy Phillips came in the fastest the next lap. So they are alternating who is fastest for each lap, but the consistently fastest car tonight so far has been right there, that 03 car. That is Nathan Wenzel. He's currently running fourth. But for about the last 15-20 laps, he has been the fastest one out there. But he is 2 seconds behind the leaders, and with just 17 laps to go, being the fastest may not be enough to get him to the front. The 471 and the 50 still back here battling. Nose to tail, 50 still trying to find a way to get by. And back the fan favorites, we'll go take another look at them. That is the 58 of Thomas Turtles Johnson, followed by Mr. James Seagroves DeCourcy. As the 87 gets a little bit of a tap, he is in the outside wall. He is blowing up. I bet we get a caution. All right, we are looking at the 43 and the 87. 43 of Dana Shepard, and the 87 is Paul McCoubry. And looks like the 43 just got in a little too deep. The 87 was already on the edge of loose and just caught the rear bumper, put him in the wall, and that will end the 87. That will end Paul's night, it looks like. With 17 laps to go, I can't see getting enough, him being able to get enough repairs to get back out there. Back up front, it is still Randy Phillips. "14 laps to go, and Randy Phillips leads Eric Pomasco, Matthew Kimball, Nathan Wenzel, Jeffrey Ramsdale, Justin Prescott, Kyle Streeter, Thomas Johnson 8th, James Seagroves DeCourcy 9th, and Eric Laurendeau is 10th. Then Drew Davis comes in at 11th, Eric Steele is 12th, Paul McCoubry being scored in 13th. That'll change. He is on pit road, as is Clark Brooks. And looks like Eric Steele is actually the last car on the lead lap in 12th place. Then you've got Paul McCoubry, Kevin Kermier, Tony Quadros, Dana Shepard, Clark Brooks, and Jason Pelkey all at least one lap down. Clark Brooks and Paul McCoubry back on pit road at the moment. It looks like Jason Pelkey in 18th place. He managed to get back out, and if Clark stays on pit road, he should have enough laps to pick up at least that position. He might even be able to pick up one more position with Paul McCoubry if he stays on pit road as well. And I got to give a shout out to these guys for being here at South Boston, being a notoriously difficult, tight track for these guys to run at. They have done a great job. We've watched most of this race stay green. And while we're at it, do not forget to stick around after this broadcast. We will immediately swap over. And we will be looking at the Outcast SR8 series at Dover this week. A little bit of a rough start there as the front row slowed didn't take the green as early as they could have. Oh, the 03 gets into Eric Pamasco. He backs off a little bit, doesn't want to take the position in that way, drops down to the inside. Everybody manages to keep it straight despite the caterpillar effect we had there on that restart. And the front three, looks like the 50 might actually finally get that position. He is up to second place now. And Thomas Turtles Johnson is up to seventh now. And looks like he is making a move for sixth underneath the 44. 44 gets loose, gets into the 58. Everybody manages to stay straight. But it looks like Thomas Johnson's going to move up to sixth now. Cupcake is also on the outside trying to get past the lap car of Tony Quadros. He is in 10th. Back up front, Randy Phillips has ran away. The battle is going on right behind him, though. Just a slight reverse of the previous green flag run. The 50 car is in second place now with Eric Pamasco right behind him. As we get 9 laps to go, looks like Eric is starting to look to the inside. Matthew Kimball gets enough momentum up off the turn and puts him a little bit behind, but Eric Pamasco gets one heck of a run down into the turn every time. The 03 is right there waiting for one of them to make a mistake, can't get there, and looks like the 07, Jeffrey Ramsdale back there, is also still in the picture. The 19 of Randy Phillips is running away with it at the moment. As we will switch over here and watch these guys go around. They are getting really close. Eric Pamasco knows he's got a faster car. He's going to try and put that nose in there at some point, I guarantee it. 6 laps to go. Thomas Johnson still in 6th. Trying to close the gap on the 07 of Jeffrey Ramsdale. He is actually right to the back bumper of him. There's Thomas Johnson. He is right to the back bumper as the 07 looks to the inside. 5 laps to go. These three are about to start battling as well. 4 laps to go. Up front, Randy Phillips still up in the lead. The 50 and the 471 still nose to tail. 3 laps to go. And we still have a 3-car battle right behind them. That is for, looks like 5th, 6th, and 7th. Or 4th, 5th, and 6th, excuse me. Nobody has a clear advantage here at the moment. Up in second place as we get 2 to go. Coming down to the white flag. Randy Phillips obviously has this thing locked up as soon as he crosses that start-finish line. One more time. 1 lap to go. Will Pamasco use the front bumper to get around the 50 car? They come into 3 and 4 nose to tail. They're leaning on each other. The 50 gets way loose, gets up into the wall, but he manages to come across the start-finish line in second place. Thomas Johnson looks like he is going to cross the line in 6th place as well. The finishing order tonight is Randy Phillips first, then Matthew Kimball comes home second in a close finish. The 471, Eric Pamasco comes home third, Nathan Wenzel fourth, Jeffrey Ramsdale is fifth, and Thomas Turtles Johnson comes home sixth. Justin Prescott is 7th, Eric Laurendeau 8th, Kyle Streeter 9th, Drew Davis 10th, 11th is Eric Steele, 12th is James Seagroves. DeCourcy looked like he lost a couple spots in the final battle tonight. And that gives you an idea of just how small this track is when they can't complete donuts easily. We've seen it every track they've been to so far. They've had a wide enough track to get some donuts in, but you can see Randy Phillips struggling to get that. And I guarantee you this should put him back into the points lead. Tony Quadros ended up finishing back in 13th. So that'll put Randy Phillips back up into first. Eric Pamasco may even claim second. Eric Steele, who was 4th in points, he came home in 11th, But Jason Pelkey, who was 5th in points, also came home. He managed to recover a couple of spots, but came home 17th. Whereas Nathan Wenzel came home in 4th. Jeffrey Ramsdale came home in 5th. So both of those guys picked up a lot of points here tonight. Doing some quick math in the head here, so don't count on this. We'll have the updates for you next week. But it looks like Jeffrey Ramsdale and Nathan Wenzel both will pick up at least 1, if not 2 spots in the points. Daniel Sweeney didn't even see him on track tonight. Not seeing him in the scoring. He was 8th in points. Eric Laurendeau, who was 9th in points, he came home in 8th place. He'll gain a few points. And Paul McCobrey had a rough night. He came home in 16th. Another great night of racing here from South Boston with these hardcore street stock series. Remember, these guys didn't have any fast repairs. They had nothing but their own what they start the race with, they finish the race with, and we saw quite a few upsets in the points. And going on to next week, the points battles are going to be, some of the points battles are going to be even closer, but I would imagine that Randy Phillips has opened up a small lead on Tony Quadros. We'll see if Tony's climbed his way up all season. We'll see if he can do it again to get back to the front. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Definitely stick around. We will have some SR8 racing here shortly, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with the Outcast SR8s in just a few moments.